Our next bit of injury news in the wide receiver front, Malik Nabers, he's got a foot injury. He's dealt with a lot of lower body injuries throughout the entire year. He's played through a large majority of them. He said himself, he considers himself a game day decision. He's going to try to practice today. We'll have an update on that when it ultimately happens, if it does, during our show. But we got to hear from Nabers himself on his status going into Week 17.
Game day decision right now.
Do you think you'll be able to get out on the practice field tomorrow in some way?
I'm hoping so. It all depends on how it feels tomorrow. That's really it. Anytime, any opportunity I have to go out there on the football field and play with my brothers, whether I be nicked up or not. I know a lot of guys are battling a lot of injuries in the facility, in the building right now. They still continue to go out there and ball. So I'm going to be right there with those guys if I can and continue to go out there with those guys and ball out.
Roto-Pat, that's a man that's been through a rookie season, some would say, with the New York Giants.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like he's seen some stuff in that clip. And this is just more. But Matthew, by the way, I'm surprised you're not happy with the fantasy finals week where it's not even 11 o'clock on the East Coast on Friday. And we've already had a 31-2 game and a 6-3 game. You know, that just seems like a great fantasy finals week to me.
It's awful.
Yeah,
it's awful. It's disgusting.
Awful. And more guys dropping like flies. CeeDee Lamb, like you mentioned, hadn't been a wide receiver one season until the fantasy playoffs. He's been going off. Malik Nabers had been playing a little better of late, at least in terms of fantasy. And with Malik Nabers, coupled with the Tyrone Tracy thing, seeming like genuinely questionable all of a sudden after they've been playing hurt for a while, I honestly think this is the New York Giants saying, we're not making the same mistake the Jets made in 2020. We're not making the same mistake the Panthers made in 2022. And we are leaving nothing to chance with this number one overall pick. Can they even be mathematically caught at this point? I'm not even sure if they can. But they are just like leaving nothing to chance. With the Giants quarterback changing like almost every quarter, like why put Malik Nabers out there who's been banged up almost all year? And I think as brutal as it is, it's not like Malik Nabers has been carrying your team, but he's had a nice PPR floor. I just don't think you can be relying on that for the fantasy finals. And you need to be operating as if Nabers is not going to be in there. And you've got to be moving down the board to not a good week for streaming receivers. But I just do not think you can be counting Malik Nabers. You can get really sicko with it. Wan'Dale Robinson's probably been dropped by a lot of teams. You know, the worst ever PPR volume. I don't mind starting Wan'Dale as like a desperation, maybe wide receiver 3, more like in the 40 to 45 range. But I'm not counting on Nabers playing on Sunday.
Yeah, we've seen Darius Slayton have some production as well, Connor. I don't know that you feel great about him. I mean, I think you probably feel in this particular matchup, you probably feel best about the Colts defense as a streamer here, because by the way, Tyrone Tracy has yet to practice this week.
Right.
So I mean, there's a chance you're looking at Devin Singletary and, Darius Slayton, Jalen Hyatt, Wan'Dale Robinson, as we're talking about here as well. It just, none of it bodes well. I will say, Pat, to your point though, Malik Nabers has a 96% route participation in the last 2 weeks. He's been playing through injuries. He's a gamer. If Malik Nabers is active, I'm starting him. If the Giants feel he's well enough to, yes. If
he's only going to play. This would be a gamer type thing if he's playing. If he's playing, you can trust it because he's only out there because it means that much to him. So I agree. If he's active, you can put him in there.
But no question, you're going to want to pay attention to whether or not he's going to go and have a contingency plan if Nabers can't go. Well, obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about some potential waiver pickups here, but also Sunday morning fantasy football pregame. Jay Croucher, George Savarikas, Lawrence Jackson, and myself will get you ready for the Sunday slate and give you all the latest on Nabers and all the injuries we're tracking.
And to your original question, Pat, by the way, yes, the Giants are 2-13. They're the only 2-win team in the NFL right now. That's why they're picking number 1. If they won a third game and the other teams from 2 to 6, which also all have 3 wins, the Giants have the highest strength of schedule. So they would go from 1 to 6 if they win one more game. So sitting everybody, although a lot of teams don't go by that practice, there's big ramifications here for the Giants. Let me just say that.
Teams don't do that. They are doing that. Why would they not do that? Like once the game starts, you need to go all out. That's what you owe the fans and owe each other. But before the game starts, you don't have to go all out. And why risk it? The health of Malik Nabers, why risk do what the Jets did and fall from 1-2 in 2020 and the Panthers? There's just no point in these guys playing. But unless Malik is, he's the future of the franchise, and if he's like, I'm playing, you're not telling Malik he's not playing. But I think that's the only way he plays.
Yeah,
Wait, very quickly, Devin
Go
Singletary
ahead,
in weeks 1 through 4, when he averaged over 16 touches a game, he was averaging about 12 fantasy points per game. So I do think, especially against the Colts run defense, it doesn't scare you that if Tyron Tracy is out, Devin Singletary becomes interesting as a flyer this week.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and Rotoworld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.